Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to 3C Amplified. I'm your host, Jacqueline Destremps, here to highlight the businesses, nonprofits, and individuals collaborating to amplify their impact in the community. This series is sponsored by Another Hand Advantage, where I create marketing strategies for community-minded small businesses and nonprofits that fit your schedule and budget while making your brand stand out in front of your audience. And joining me in our virtual studio today is Alexhandra Hotko, founder and baker at Hotko Bread Company and the Phoenix Sampler, and owner and pastry chef Soraya Medina of SaludEats. Welcome, ladies.
Good morning.
This I said virtual studio because we are not in a live studio together today, which is a real bummer because I have a feeling I could have gotten some baked goods out of this.
Yes. Definitely.
Oh my gosh. But nonetheless, we'll have a great conversation today. I cannot wait to talk to you ladies. I have known Alex for several years now through Local First. I've had the opportunity to have some of your baked goodies, especially your babka. It's very dangerous, though, that I know a babka maker who lives just a few miles away.
And is happy to trade for fresh tomatoes.
I know. We're doing a little herb exchange. Give you some of my oregano. I get some of your babka. And I'm really excited to have you on today, Soraya, and for Alex to introduce me to your baked goods through the Phoenix Sampler, which we'll be talking about today. So welcome both of you again. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Definitely excited to be here.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yeah. So Soraya, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about SaludEats. Have you been a baker for long? Is this something you always wanted to do? How did this all get started?
Well, it's funny because I always try to go back to when I was younger to see where was the baking involved, because my mother is actually a great cook, but she's not a baker. She only knows how to do two things. So I remember going to Peru with her when I was 6. Every summer we would go to Peru, and my older cousin would always bake cakes. And she would bake cakes, orange cake, lemon cake. And I remember I was so excited. So I think that's where it started. When I started dating my husband, this is 19 years ago, we would love watching the Food Network. We were big foodies. We loved to eat. And we would print recipes. We would bake them. We would do them and we eat them. And then, I was like, I kind of want to do this. Like anybody could follow a recipe, and baking is science. So I wanted to go to culinary school. So I ended up going to culinary school in 2012, graduated in 2013. And then we started our online bakery in New York. That's where we're from.
Oh, okay.
New York is so expensive. There was no way that we were going to open up a brick and mortar. Even to do a farmer's market over there for the holidays, to get in, it was $4,000.
Oh my gosh.
And this was back in 2014.
Wow.
So imagine how much it would be now. So we knew that there was no way that we could start a business over there. So our friends moved here, and then we came to visit, and then we just fell in love with Arizona. And we basically said, you could definitely make it out here. Our first farmers market that we visited was downtown Phoenix. We just saw ourselves being in the market. We loved how people here support local. Back home in New York, everything is big chains. The small businesses don't survive out there at all. And everything is very cutthroat. Nobody's friendly there. Everything's about money. So, yeah.
$4,000 to be at a farmer's market. I can see where that would it'd be difficult to separate from that, but yeah.
Yeah, so at that time, we only had our dog. We were like, this is a great opportunity to move to Arizona if we really wanted to follow our dreams and, have our own bakery. So that's what we did. We ended up moving 5 years ago. We came here. And then ever since we moved here, we've just been hustling. And we started at the farmer's market. And that's actually how we met Alex. We started in a small farmer's market called Clark Park in Tempe. And so that's how it started.
That's great.
It took a while, ups and downs, a lot of tears, a lot of restless nights. I think right now we actually do wholesale. So we provide our pastries in coffee shops, hotels, but with this whole thing that's going on,
things have changed a little, right?
Yep. Yeah. So that's how we started.
So you mentioned Peru, and I perked up. So I went to Peru for the first time 2 years ago, and probably one of my all-time favorite trips of all time. So do you have family there? Is that where your family is from? Or
yeah, my mom has a lot of family over there. My dad is in New York, but there's a lot of family in Peru. Unfortunately, I haven't been there since it's been a while. It's probably been 18 years that I haven't gone back. Yeah. Oh. And I would love to visit Machu Picchu. I still haven't done that, but that's definitely on the list.
Yeah. No, and and so my husband and I are big foodies also. So it was actually quite funny when I started talking about visiting Peru. Somebody asked me, well, how are you going to manage that? Because I don't eat meat. I guess a pescatarian. I eat seafood, but I don't eat any meat. And everyone was telling me all they eat is, guinea pig and beef and this and that. And I was like, yes, but do you also know they have 3,000 types of potatoes? I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. And a lot of seafood.
Yes. And a lot of seafood.
And everything. Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing. So I could see how that, just eating that food would inspire anyone to decide that this is what they want to do is to bake, and just thinking back to those memories. Because I think that's how, baking and cooking is for myself also. It just, you think back to a memory of a time when, you tasted something for the first time, or you experienced a recipe for the first time, and who you were with.
Yeah.
And Alex, that kind of leads into you a little bit, because with you started your baking company, Hotko. Now, obviously that's your last name, but it's a very unique baking company in that where do your recipes come from traditionally?
So I say that I focus on Bohemian baked goods, Bohemia being the region that's now Czechoslovakia, a little bit of Hungary, Poland, Germany. The borders change. People have moved around a few times. Yeah. Recipes move with them. So it kind of encompasses a little bit of Germany, all the way into Russia, into the Balkan states, a little bit of Croatian, but definitely Central Eastern European breads and pastries. Mostly family recipes is where it started. And then it just kind of expanded from there based on travel. Yeah. So we've got that all in common. We love the food and we love traveling.
That'll be a whole other show. We'll start a travel show also. So take us back to the beginning, because when I first met you, I don't know that I knew this about you, but then I was reading through some of your information that you sent over before the show. And you actually were kind of in, what was it, the footwear industry at one point in time?
Yeah.
How do you go from footwear to baking?
That's a fun one. Yeah. I spent 10 to 12 years in the fashion and then footwear industry, starting in retail, ending in wholesale. It was something that was easy for me. It made sense. A lot of analytics, a lot of human interaction, things like that. So I just started from the bottom when I was in college and moved all the way up. And then I got to the point where, as cliche as it might be, I turned 30 and I said, I haven't set goals for myself in probably 7 years because I've met everything that I wanted to do. I decided that year, it was going to be the year I was going to finally do what I'd been joking about. Since I was probably 13, I said, someday over the rainbow, I'm going to have Hotko Bread Co., after we win the lottery and I don't have to worry about working and things like that. And it just kind of all came together at that time, that I realized it didn't have to be an all-in, build out a bake shop, make it a big thing right away. I was inspired by farmers market vendors and other little startups that were just doing, little sandwich box deliveries and things like that. And so, moved out of the footwear industry that year and into baking. Started at the Clark Park Farmers Market as well, where I met Soraya. I think it was fall of 17, probably, is when we met. Well, you've been to farmers markets. They're like small business incubators. Mm-hmm. So it's really fun. You get to try all sorts of ideas and bounce ideas off of your customers. And you get immediate feedback. And like Soraya was saying as well, the customers are so loyal here. They really want to try something new. They want to be exposed to your story. They want to have a relationship with their vendors. And so I think that's been something that's super fun about building the bread business.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's what's really unique about both of you. Something that that stood out to me when I first met you, Alex, was the type of baking that you were doing. I want to say, I can't remember what they were. They were some kind of cracker or something.
Sauerkraut crackers.
Sauerkraut crackers, yeah. And we were at an event and I thought, okay, I like sauerkraut, I like crackers. This is weird, but I'll give it a try. And then I ate it and said, wow, this is fantastic. And then I think you just started talking about, well, first off, you're asking where they come up with the idea for sauerkraut crackers. And you built that story, you had that story behind it. And Soraya, with you, when Alex, I reached out to Alex and said, hey, I really want you to come on the show, tell your story. Who would make a great guest? And she immediately, threw out your name and who are you with? And I said, you know what? I'm actually already following her on Instagram because I had your black bean brownie. And I was like, she's my best friend
I didn't know you had the brownie.
But then I saw your story. And so you're right, when people are immediately drawn to a business, when they can kind of build that story and build that relationship with you and kind of bring you in into your thought process and like what was behind that. So I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, I'm sure I'm not just speaking for myself. Once you have an idea for a business, you have probably 20 more ideas a day.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Some that get executed on, some that don't. But sometimes, it's just inevitable that we're going to bring our customers and clients into our story. And the farmers market is the perfect place for that because people do like to kind of stroll through, especially if you've got food samples out. They're going to hang out by your table. And I just love how open both of you are with sharing your stories and what's behind your baked goods. So, Soraya, so let's talk about that black bean brownie. So that's weird. Like I got it in my pack, and we'll get to talking about Phoenix Sampler in a second. But let's go right into that brownie. So I get this brownie. It's delivered to me on a Sunday. I pull it out. I know full well it's a brownie. I don't even read the bottom. I'm just like, no, it's a chocolate brownie. And I ate it, and I thought, oh, this is really good because it's like a cake. It's not fudgy. Normally I like the fudgy dense brownies. This is really light and yummy. And then I just happened to flip it over because I was like, so who's this from? And it said black bean brownie. And I was like, huh? And then I immediately said, well, that's healthy. So I can just eat the rest of this brownie right now.
I'm also guilty of eating her brownies for breakfast.
It's funny because immediately when you say black bean brownie, everyone's like, black beans, like with the brownie, like, people automatically think that it's going to taste like beans, but you really can't taste it. So basically we tried, it's gluten-free. We try to make it vegan as well, but it didn't work out because once you take out the eggs, it's just, we tried it with applesauce and it was just too dense and mushy and it just didn't work. So we kept it as gluten-free. But yeah, it's black bean brownie. It has coconut oil, it has eggs, and then you get your protein from the eggs and the beans. And then we use 70% pure Ecuadorian chocolate. Yeah. So yeah, it's actually a top seller. And it's funny how parents always trick their kids. Like we have a lot of parents that come to us and we're like, oh, I'm going to buy it and I'm just going to give it to them and see what they think. And then after when they tell them that it's black beans, they're surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of little customers who love the black bean brownie.
So are all of your baked goods then, do you make them, try to make them gluten-free, vegan or...
All our desserts are actually organic, and it actually goes back to I had a near-death experience in 2006 because of vaccination, and I did a lot of research on what we put into our bodies and I found out that there's a lot of toxic ingredients out there, some ingredients that you can't pronounce. Like if you were to go to Costco, you'll turn around. It's funny because the other day I saw this huge pie. It was like $6. But if you look at the ingredients, it's like 20 ingredients that you can't pronounce. So you don't know what they are. So because of that, we ended up doing organic, live a healthier lifestyle. And I wanted to incorporate that with our baked goods. So I always try to substitute ingredients with healthier options. We use a lot of coconut oil. Everything is organic. And we also use a lot of arrowroot, which replaces the starch and cornstarch. But yeah, mainly everything is organic. And we just try to educate everyone that you could have a healthier dessert without sacrificing taste or tasting like cardboard. Because I know back then when you would eat something gluten-free, it really didn't taste that yummy back then. But now there's so many other ingredients that you could substitute that, it doesn't have to taste like that anymore.
Yeah. So going back to the thousands of different ideas as an entrepreneur that we have going through our head at any given time and how that brownie ended up on my counter one Sunday. Alex, what did you decide to do amidst all of us being locked up in our homes? You decided to launch a new business. Tell us about the Phoenix Sampler and kind of how that came together.
Yeah. So in the midst of all of this, and all of us are kind of cooped up in our homes and baking less and not doing farmers markets, I had been toying around with this idea for a little while that just kind of came to the top of the pile. And I was a big fan of Birchbox. I don't know if you've ever experienced Birchbox with the makeup. You pay $10 a month and you get samples of all sorts of new brands. So with that kind of idea in mind, I reached out to a lot of local food and craft vendors. Still reaching out to more. We're going to grow this as big as we can because I want to make sure that if you are a repeat order, yes, I saw your order yesterday, that you're getting something new every time. So the Phoenix Sampler is really about introducing people at home to brands that are local that maybe they haven't heard of or they have heard of but haven't tried yet. With a lot of us kind of avoiding going out or going to farmers markets or really unsure of how we can continue to support local. This gives shoppers the opportunity to kind of have a meet and greet with different vendors. So you get the letter of intro, so you get to learn a little bit about each vendor that is included in your sampler. And you also get their contact info. So that way you found the black bean brownie. If that was the highlight of your bag for the first one, you now have the contact info to meet and follow SaludEats and get to know more of Soraya's story, get more of those brownies or try the banana bread or things like that. So I just wanted to give people the opportunity to meet some of the great vendors that I've had the opportunity to meet. Because I've tried most of them. Some of them are friends of friends, but most of the ones that we've already included are things I've already consumed myself. They have great stories behind them and people that are excited to work and build their business. And yeah, I just wanted people to be excited about something new. I'm always excited about something new. Yeah. So this is like a good way to not know what's coming in your sampler. You just pick something and we fill it for you. That also utilizes my footwear skills. So when I was in wholesale, I was building store buys for the footwear. So we say, Dillard's has $35,000 worth of open money to fill with boots for the season. So how many kinds of boots and which ones can I fit in and which ones match their needs? And, do they need more of this and less of that? So I get to utilize that skill in building these assortments for people as well. So it kind of brought everything together for me.
Yeah, I think so. That was kind of one of the most exciting parts of it for me. So I didn't know it was you at first, Alex. I just saw this Phoenix Sampler. You were like, hey guys, there's this cool thing called Phoenix Sampler. And I'm like, ooh, what's this about? Went on and I was like, ooh, I don't know. It's a surprise. Like, what if there's something weird in there and I don't want to eat it, and then, but there, you do have on there, you can put if you have any allergies or if you're vegan or vegetarian or whatever. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? Because the small sampler bag is what, $29? I'm like, it's $29. I'll try out some cool stuff. I love supporting local. So yeah, I was so excited when I opened it up, and I actually, of course, I pulled everything out at first. Was like, oh, wow, this is so exciting. Oh my gosh, I'll eat everything in here. But I really liked the letter that came with it. And the fact that I could read everyone's story, and find out more about each of the products. So like I said, I was like, oh, that's a brownie. I tasted some, this is awesome. And then looked and was like, black bean, what? I got to learn more about this person. And, looked through the paperwork. And I love that you, put their social media handles on there. So immediately I could go on, and start following them on social media. Soraya, when Alex approached you about this, what were your initial thoughts?
Oh, I didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
It was an automatic yes. Because, right now in these times, you have to be creative and you have to try to find a way so you could earn more money during this time. And I felt like her idea was awesome. It was great. And I think we all need a little surprise in the mail because we're all kind of depressed indoors, can't do anything. So that little package that you will receive on Sunday would actually put a smile on everyone's faces. So it was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
To join.
Yeah, no. And so pointing out the obvious, you're both bakers. Mm-hmm. So some might think hey, that's kind of weird. Why would two bakers be working together on something? Isn't that competition?
No.
Yeah. We actually, I think right now in the program, we have 6 bakers. Mm-hmm. We have 2 more that are possibly coming on to next week, but we all have different focuses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have a baker who exclusively does gluten, dairy, soy, and nut-free. And we have a baker this week. We have a baker that's all vegan. We've got a specialty, really fancy little pastry baker coming next week. And then, I do the Bohemian baked goods. I've only included myself in one package for Mother's Day so far, because I want to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to be highlighted before I start really plugging it in. Also, trying to manage the assortments and get that all together plus bake is it's a lot right now. So I'm glad that we have so many other bakers.
Yeah.
But like you pointed out, there's that little bit where you can say, if you have allergies or food preferences. Some people are putting in there, I would love to see more La Bella V, or, I really like chocolate, or things like that. So those fun little notes also help me to build that assortment and get the, the variety right.
Mm-hmm. So Soraya has, in addition to the Phoenix Sampler and your involvement in that, you mentioned previous, you were doing farmers markets and things like that. But you are also in the process of, during all this, opening a brick and mortar, right?
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah. But why the hell not, right?
It's actually funny how it came about. This store was actually supposed to open a year ago, but because of construction and the general contractor and then the inspector, it just took a long time. It was always something going on. But initially, it was actually just going to be Doc's Artisan Ice Cream, which we share a kitchen with him. He makes gelato and sorbet. And he was actually the first person that we met when we came here for the first time in Arizona. When we came here, obviously it was hot. It was in the summertime. We didn't know any better. And, I think we were in IKEA and I was telling Danny, my husband, I was like, ice cream or something to cool us down. So we looked at Yelp and we came across his brick and mortar at the time. And we went inside. And we met Doc, and, he's just a very kind and open and helpful person. We told him what our goal was, that we were going to move here and we wanted to start everything. So he gave us advice, and he was like, whenever you guys are here and all moved in, come and visit. He actually had an oven in his shop. He was like, if you want to use our oven, you're more than welcome to. So that's what happened. We moved. We actually used his oven when we needed it. If we needed to make more other than using our oven in the house. And we just built a relationship, and then we ended up joining together in the commercial kitchen, and that's where we are right now. So he was supposed to open up his shop a year ago, and then since we share the kitchen, one of our partners decided why not combine both. So that's how we came about. And our grand opening is going to be soon. It's actually in Mesa. It's a little drive, but it's only 20 minutes. It's not that bad. Yeah, we're going to have our grand opening, which we're going to have sorbet and gelato plus our baked goods.
Oh, wow. And where in Mesa is it going to be?
It's 839 South Crimson Road in Mesa.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually a new complex with a lot of new companies. And I feel like it's great because I've never been there since the store opened. That's when I ended up going there. And there's actually nothing out there. So people just love like going to whatever store there is because it's, I think, a new coming area that they're building right now.
Yeah.
When you look it up on Google Maps, it's still just a dirt lot.
Yeah. But there's Filiberto's there. There's Black Rock Coffee. There's a yoga place. I think next door is going to be a Sassy's Cafe. I think that's the name of it. Sassy's Cafe Restaurant. And yeah, we're excited. Right now we're actually doing artwork in the wall.
Okay.
To make it a little bit more fun. And yeah, we should be announcing our grand opening, but we're open. We're still trying to figure everything out as far as hours and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's mainly you buy and it's to go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's super exciting. So in addition, one of the other reasons I just love what you two are doing is, Soraya, you have the Bread from the Heart program. And then also, Alex, I want to talk to you about with the Phoenix Sampler, when you're ordering, you also have an opportunity to give back to a local nonprofit. So in the spirit of why, anytime I have guests on 3C Amplified, I just love to hear about how you're giving back in the community and how you're using your business for good and ways that you are connecting with the community and making that impact. So tell me a little bit about that Bread from the Heart program.
Yeah, well, Bread from the Heart is basically when you buy a loaf, we'll donate a loaf on your behalf to St. Mary's Food Bank. So you could find this on the website. There's a little section where you could buy the bread. But yeah, we noticed obviously that we had to basically wanted to help the community out with so much unemployment going out. And we saw the lines are out the door, I know, in here and everywhere else as far as the food bank. So we just wanted to do as much as we can to help the community right now.
And then Alex, with your Phoenix Sampler bag, tell me kind of how that came about. Was that something from the beginning, like no brainer, this is what we want to do with this? Or where did that come from as far as being able to add on that donation?
That was definitely a no-brainer for me. Initially, the first week we went for a Support Restaurants in Arizona fund. Hillary is a gal that is helping with deliveries. She put together our bouquets for Mother's Day and things like that. And she's from the restaurant industry. So she's been unemployed while this whole thing's been going on. So that's what inspired our first option for donation. Now it is food bank. I believe it's St. Mary's Food Bank is what I have on there, but it definitely was a no-brainer that right away I have to give an opportunity to give. I just think it's really important to be giving if we have any funds available to be supporting other people. It's always fun to get something for yourself, but it's sometimes more fun to be gifting something to someone else.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but what they say as far as the actual, when you give something, like when you donate or you give a gift, like the actual chemical response in your brain, and I just think that's so interesting. I mean, obviously we know it feels good when I give somebody something, but to know that actually has that direct impact on your body when you give back. And it's just right now, especially, obviously businesses are hurting, small businesses are hurting, but nonprofits, their losses are astronomical right now as well. And one of the things that I've loved the most here in the Arizona community is seeing how businesses and individuals have rallied together to help one another out. It's kind of like competition is out the door right now. Like this is, how can we come together in whatever way possible to give back in the community, whether that be, like you said, Alex, somebody who's, helping to deliver the bags on Sunday was out of work, now now you hear she has a job. Soraya, like you were mentioning, just, with the giving back the bread, that loaf of bread. It's something I've always said, it can be small, something small in your business. It doesn't always have to be that grand gesture. It can be something small, or start small and obviously get bigger from there if it's sustainable and you're able to do that.
Yes.
What types of products do you guys see as coming up? Are there new things in works? I know, Alex, you had mentioned, bringing on new vendors for Phoenix Supply Co., but in your own baking as well. Any new baked goods coming out of all of this time at home in the kitchen?
I've recently been getting a lot of requests for the Polish equivalent of a stuffed donut, paszki. I've worked in 2 tests on this so far. Both were very failed attempts, but that's usually how things start out for me. Flavor was great. Texture was, hello, a little too dense. But it's always fun to start something new. I've been working just before all of this. I spent a lot of time working on pushinki. It's a Ukrainian Russian cookie with a Nescafe base. So I had just kind of perfected that as everything shut down. So those are really great now. And they've been photographed beautifully, so they're on the website. But no, it's been mostly special orders for bread. Not really anything too new. A lot more. I think what's actually been kind of fun is that a lot of my special orders are for items I don't usually bring to the farmer's market. So they, don't sell on the table, or they just don't look quite as pretty, but they're these core classic items that people are Googling, and it sends them right to my website, and they're getting them this is the freshest they've probably gotten anything from me. Because even with the farmer's market, it's bake everything, package it, and then get it all to the market. With the individual special orders, it's when your order's in the pipeline, that's the order that's happening. And it's being baked, and half the time it's still steaming, or I have to send a note hey, it's at your door, but I didn't close the bag because there's steam literally coming out of the bag right now. So that's been kind of fun. So yeah, not too much new on that front. Just this whole other business.
Right. But I guess in addition to, what's new, what's baking, how have your business practices, changed? And I know, Alex, like you just kind of mentioned, it used to be that most everyone got your product at farmers markets, and now you're offering, special order, pickup, delivery, those types of things. Soraya, how about with your business? How have things changed? You were mostly wholesale before, so now you don't have those restaurants. Well, now they're opening, luckily, but we
only have a handful who still order, but they're obviously not the same as before.
Yeah.
Now that we're actually in the store, it's funny because it's you have to wear a mask, because sometimes you kind of forget, and it's oh my God, I have to wear a mask, and then gloves, and then you have to sanitize everything. So it's something that's new. And, sometimes it's scary too, because people come in and obviously you don't know what, they have, who they've been around. So we just try to be as careful as possible and just try to make it quick so they're out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've gotten really great at doorbell dash. That's I was made for this.
Well, what's funny is right before, or maybe when this first started or something, we actually finally got a video doorbell installed. And so what's funny though is some places, will ring the doorbell and then leave the food and walk off, and leave or whatever. I can't remember what it was, if it was Postmates or whatever, but if it hadn't been for our video, they didn't ring the doorbell or anything. Had it not been that we got an alert on our phone. that our food was there. I was like, I think our food's outside.
Oh, gosh.
But Alex, with my first bag from you guys from Phoenix Sampler, so I get an alert like when somebody's coming up the driveway or whatever, and I looked at my phone and I'm like, I pulled up the little video. I'm like, here comes my bag.
Treasure!
What's going to be inside? Going back to something that I think that you had said, Alex, and it just kind of reminded me. You had said, you're trying out some new recipes and they're not quite there yet. Do you think that's maybe like a common kind of like misconception of, anyone who becomes a baker and kind of makes a living out of that, or, whatever it may be, that there are a lot of fails behind the scenes before you finally decide to let someone else eat that?
Definitely. Thankfully, I have a lot of people that are very gracious and willing to try something new all the time. So it's definitely a work in progress for a lot of items. Baking is a science to a certain extent, but I mean, especially with bread, humidity, temperature, time of day, all of these things really play a big part into it. So it might be something that works out great 200 times in a row and you're selling it and fine. And then you have this last minute order and you put it in the oven and it just settles and it's just not pretty. It happens all the time. So I definitely think that, even if you're a home baker regularly, just for fun, like you're going to have some failed attempts and that's totally fine. That's half the fun of it. I think the other part of that is that you get to, really question what went wrong there. Did I miss something? Did I substitute something? Did I mix up my recipes entirely? It's definitely, that part's fun, trying to figure out where it went wrong also.
And how about for you, Soraya? So coming up with that black bean brownie, and then also you mentioned a banana bread, right? Mm-hmm. Did you say, I had somebody actually reach out to me on Instagram and she goes, I'm tuning into your show because I got a banana bread last week in my sampler and now I must hear more from this person.
Oh, that's awesome.
She is also a SaludEats disciple now. She's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that banana bread actually is a vegan bread. And when we came here to Arizona, we were just all organic. But when we started the farmers market, people started asking for gluten-free and vegan. So we actually, tried to kind of accommodate those customers too. So that's how the black bean brownie came about. And the banana bread, initially we used to just make a regular banana bread. And since, we got a lot of customers, is this vegan? So we tried the vegan. And I was surprised that I just had to substitute 2 or 3 things and it ended up coming out good. So that vegan bread actually was one of the easiest to substitute. So we substituted the yogurt with the yogurt and the butter with coconut oil, eggs. We use apple cider vinegar. And then what else do we use? Oh, and almond milk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So those are the substitutions, which is, if you taste it, it's actually kind of the same as the regular banana bread.
Well, you get enough banana in there and it's like...
Yeah, we use real bananas.
Yeah, I know. How many different products then do you have at any given time? Like how many different items are you baking?
We have brownies. Oh, we're actually very famous for our scones too. We do different scones, blueberry lemon, cranberry orange. We also do savory, cheddar scallion scones.
My favorite.
Oh yeah.
Which ones, Alex?
The cheddar scallion scones.
Oh my gosh. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so we do that, and then we do breads. We also make apple fritter bread, blueberry oat bread, and we make galettes. And since you mentioned the new baking, I haven't had time to bake new recipes.
Yeah.
With the baby, with the stores, a lot.
Yeah.
But we are combining the gelato sorbet and our baked goods. So since you mentioned you love the brownie bowl, you could the brownie, you could actually have a brownie bowl in the store.
Ooh, yes.
So it's a brownie with 2 scoops of gelato and then a drizzle of chocolate syrup.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
Alex, how can you get one of those in the bag?
Right. I guess we're going to have to get Doc on board. We have coolers for delivery. So
I know. Your nice paper bag is going to turn into, okay, everyone gets a cooler now. When you
Yeah, so we've just been trying to combine both. We came up with that with galette a la mode, one of our apple galettes with gelato, and we're trying to do shakes too. So yeah, we're just trying to combine both.
Yeah, I love that collaboration. Like, I love anytime like two businesses can come together and just make something, something unique. I mean, you still each have your own unique piece of what it is that you're making in your business, but when it comes together, just all the things that come out of that, all the great things, the new products, the new stories that come out of that. Alex, how do you see now that, things are, people are being let out of their houses slowly, how do you see things, changing with Phoenix Sampler? Do you think that, the popularity of it is because people are stuck at home, and how's that going to affect it when people are able to go back out again? Have you thought about that?
I've definitely thought about that. Yeah. It can really go any number of ways. I think delivering on Sunday is helpful because generally people are going to be home on Sunday regardless of whether we're supposed to be home or we're allowed to be outside. Somebody's usually home, at least at some point on Sundays. The farmers markets, a lot of them will close down for summer as well, or, it'll be fewer vendors and things like that. So I think that this still will be a good factor. We're in Arizona. When it gets to be 110, nobody really wants to be outside.
I know.
Again, even if we're allowed.
They're like, you can all leave your house starting this Saturday. And we're like,
great.
Hey, it's triple digits now. So we'll get back to you in October.
So I think in that respect, even if we're just looking at it not as a COVID issue, but just weather for Arizona, the timing is pretty great to be launching something that is a delivery at home surprise package. So that while you're staying at home and avoiding the 112 degrees, you can still get something delivered right to you and try something new and kind of ramp up and expose other people to it that are, native Arizonans, those of us that stick around for summer.
Yeah. I just can't say enough just how much I love the fact that, you're highlighting local businesses, local, like you said, food and craft crafters that, are normally at farmers markets. And I love a good farmer's market, but a lot of times, it's Saturday morning. I want to stay in bed and I'm looking, could go to the farmer's market. It's open for another hour. Kind of want some coffee, This is a really great way to reach for anyone who's at a farmer's market to reach new clients, reach new customers, and kind of get those tastes out there and have people see, maybe I can eat something that's gluten-free that doesn't taste like cardboard. Look at these fun new ways, and really expose them to both your different, baking styles and, the other things. I'm going to be completely honest here. Nothing against the lovely ladies that make the kombucha that was in I have not tried it yet. I am still frightened.
I figured.
I promise I will try it. But it's one of those things that over the years I've seen it at Sprouts. I'm like, that kind of sounds good, but I don't know. I've never bought it, and now it was thrust in front of me. Dropped off of my doorstep.
Did you get the blueberry or the pineapple?
Pineapple.
That's the one that I had.
Okay.
Yeah. I met Shelly from All About the Booch. I met her through Local First as well.
Okay.
And so I met her and her husband there and tried a little, I want to say it was a strawberry variety that I tried that time. I have tried a couple different kombuchas from Sprouts when they first started launching them, and we're like, what is this new stuff? Sorry, I've got a dog hollering at me.
And now joining us on the show,
Annabelle Jean. I'm just going to let her in.
Some kitties come with 4 legs.
Yeah.
she hears me laughing and she's like, I want to be involved in that.
Oh yeah, that sounds like fun.
But yeah, all about the booch. I think what impressed me most outside of just the friendliness of them is that the flavor doesn't taste overwhelmingly intrusive. Like it kind of tastes like a lightly flavored bubbly water.
Okay.
No crazy after effects for me.
Wait, after effects? There are others now.
I don't know. I felt there were no changes for me. And I was having just a little shot of it in the morning, just a little sip on. But yeah, I think the flavors are really pleasant. But some of the varieties that I'd had previously were just kind of in your face or tasted, I don't know, funny.
Yeah.
Hers are very pleasant.
Okay. Well, I promise, like I said,
put it in your cocktail.
I will try it. But I think that's what's kind of exciting about it is there's going to be some familiar tastes in there. Like I think there was like a chocolate croissant. I was like, I know what that is, and I know I'm going to like it.
That was so good.
Yeah. There was some microgreens from, is it Millennial
Microgreens?
Millennial Microgreens. Oh my gosh, they were so yummy. I was like, what else can I put these on? So there's some familiar things in there, but there's also a few things where you're like, I probably would never eat this, but I'm going to try it. And wow, it's really actually very good.
Yeah.
What do you see? You had talked about a bunch of really reaching out to other vendors and wanting to expand on that. Are there any types of products that you're really excited about including in the coming weeks, or that you're wanting to get included in the bags?
This week we will have salsa involved, fresh salsa. So I'm very excited about that one for this week. In general, I mean, I like to try all sorts of new things. So as people reach out to me, I'm, happy to try to expand if it's something that I feel fits our model. But I've been reaching out to a couple others. We've got a few crafters lined up.
Oh, exciting.
The possibility of little knick-knack things you might find in there, some paper goods.
I feel like I should have ordered a bigger bag now already.
One step at a time,
I know. I want it all. I don't want to miss out.
Definitely, I can tell you it is a little more challenging this week. We have last week we had one repeat order. This week, I think about half of our orders are repeat orders. So it's a little more challenging in that I'm not just building a basic package based on allergens. Now it's like, I have the spreadsheet of what have you had before? Who haven't you tried? Can we fill you in? I'm a little, we need a few more options for next week. If some of them order again, I can tell you that for sure, especially with the big package a few days or a few weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But we also are launching coffee this week too.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I like that you're taking that all into consideration though, because it would be easy enough for you to just say, I throw a bunch of bags on my counter. Here's the section of people who say they're vegan or vegetarian. Over here's gluten-free. But other than that, just throwing things in there. And I love that you take into consideration, are they repeat? What have they received before? Thinking they might still have a bottle of kombucha in the refrigerator they were still drink and they haven't had yet. Should I really give them more?
So I think that's why we added the add-on option as well.
Yeah.
So that once you have tried it 1 week, it'll be available for add-ons. So if you want something specifically, even as some of the new shoppers, if they want something specifically, they can do an add-on and we won't repeat it in the bag. So they know they'll get that chocolate or they know they'll get kombucha. And so it gives them the opportunity to double down on something they really like.
Right. And Soraya, so as far as you said, you've got a grand opening coming up, no date set for that yet, but, other than that, kind of how are you coming out of this? Like I said, we're kind of winding down on our stay-at-home orders. Kind of how are you coming out of this with your business? What changes do you really see that, may be sticking with you after this is all over?
I feel like we'll continue with the bread program. We're actually are trying to perfect bread because bread is actually not easy either. Especially doing it in a convection oven. There's a lot of other things that you have to include to get moisture. and heat and all that. It's actually my husband that's doing the bread side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he's a baker too.
Awesome.
Yeah, he helps a lot. He's a baker too. He's awesome. A lot of our new baked goods are actually on his side. So he did the bread, cinnamon roll, and the croissants. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, croissants are not easy to make. He actually was doing the croissants while I was practically in labor.
Oh gosh.
I'm telling you, it's been a crazy ride with the new baby and everything.
Yeah.
But, as far as everything, I think we're still gonna keep on being careful now. I mean, we were always practicing, good health habits and cleanliness, and we're just gonna continue. And it's still scary though, because I know Arizona is going to its peak.
Right.
So it's slowly getting there. So I feel like it's not going to get better. I feel like it's going to get worse. But hopefully with the heat, like they say, I don't know if it's really going to kill it, but we'll see.
It's gotta be good for something, right? I mean, we don't live here. We don't sweat our butts off all summer. We gotta be hopeful that it's good for something.
Yeah, but we're just gonna try to follow the guidelines and continue doing that and continue with their bread program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we wrap up, and I do want to make sure that we wrap up in enough time for people who are listening live to get off and go over to phoenixsampler.com and order, because the cutoff for orders is Thursdays at noon, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So as we wrap up, Alex, is anything else you'd like to share? Where can people find you or follow you, either for Hotko Bread Co. or for Phoenix Sampler?
Instagram is definitely the easiest way to find me, and links to both websites. I'm also pretty active on Messenger on there, so I'm really enjoying fun stories and cocktails being shared. So Hotko Bread Co., it's HOTKO Bread Co. That's the handle for that one. And then the Phoenix Sampler, it is the PHX Sampler. So both of them on Instagram. Websites are exactly the same as well. So hotkobreadco.com and the phxsampler.com. Yeah, those are the quick, easy ways to find me, and whole delivery schedule and all those details are on there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because like you said, so through Hotko, people can still do special orders, or you have kind of like a menu of items that you're always kind of making. People can look at that and see which days of the week they can either, if they're can get them delivered or curbside pickup. And then with the Phoenix Sampler, there's 3 bag sizes, right? There's like a small, medium, large. So if people are kind of just want to get their feet wet, they can start with the small one. Mm-hmm. And then if they're like me and already want everything, they can order a larger one. And then they can also make a donation to St. Mary's Food Bank on the website through that order. So that's awesome.
Yes.
And Soraya, how about with you? I know you said you don't have a grand opening date yet, but how can people learn more about SaludEats?
Yeah, you could order online. We are also active in our Instagram, so you could follow us on Instagram, and you could also go to the link on our website. But it's SaludEats.com, SaludEats. And we're open, but we're just trying to figure everything out as far as the hours and everything. So if you want to try that brownie bowl, feel free to come. If you want both our baked goods and the gelato sorbet, we're open.
Okay, great. And is that address up on the website?
I think it's on Instagram, but I'll say it. It's 1839 South Crimson Road.
Okay.
And it's in Mesa.
All right, great. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, ladies, both so much for joining me today. Really excited to hear where this goes with both of you as far as, grand opening of a storefront, continuing success with Phoenix Sampler. Love what you both are doing. Love the collaboration and ways that you guys are making an impact in the community. So thank you both so much for joining me today. You've been listening to 3C Amplified, where we share how others are connecting, creating, and collaborating to amplify their impact. And we hope we've inspired you to do the same in your community. If you're a fellow change maker and want to build connections, create relationships, and collaborate with others to make positive change, join our online community built to support and engage people like you wanting to amplify their impact in communities around the world. Visit 3camplified.com/community to learn more. Until next time, I'm Jacqueline Destremps with Another Hand Advantage. Let me help create a digital marketing strategy to put your organization's mission in front of your target audience and highlight the impact you're having in your community. Visit anotherhandadvantage.com to learn more and connect.